And here you see the finals. David Kinner against Xin and Huang, both with Dragon Rulers. And this was also the Warapun Sueb was also with Dragon Rulers. So yeah, there was only in this 2013 Worlds was only 19 Dragon Rulers, 7 spellbooks. Then in top there was 7 Dragon Rulers and 1 spellbook from the Italian player. I can search for the standings after day 1. So let's see. So here we have the official Konami page, and we are going to here final standings day 1. So you can see that Dragon Rulers, Prophecy, Dragon Rulers, Rulers, Prophecy 9. Oh, there was until okay. There's one Prophecy on the finals. Oh la la. I thought he wasn't. Oh, there's David Kinner is also with Prophecy. That's nice. We're going to see another time a Prophecy against Dragon matchup, like on European Championship and on American Championship. So here's Michel, he got the 11s. And it's really strange. Patrick Hoban and Stillerman was only 3 points, so 1-4 record. That's really bad. Tamajiko, the American talent, on Dragon Duel, and then here we have the others. So we go back to the stream. They are just okay. I'm gonna stop it, and I come back in a few seconds. Here I want to show the Attack of the Dragon card winner. That is a ultra rare Dark Magician. That is the first Dragon card in a ultra rare form, and it's signed by Dan Green. He's a voice actor. I think he made the voice of the Dark Magician in the series. So I just show you that you know, and then I will be back on the stream. So bye. Okay, so they are playing 3rd and 4th place. I think the judges will not be so stupid. I think they get the exact same prices, so they should have no problem with this. They are just playing for fun, and yeah, here they are. So the Taiwan guy looks like if he would be from South America, but yeah, should not matter. So I think they are both playing dragons. I'm pretty sure they are both playing dragon. So Werapun Suebiol. This name is impossible to speak out. Werapun Suebiol.
Right, we're back with the 3rd place match between Hiromi Kudo from Japan, who we just saw last round, and Weerapan Suyubol from Thailand. Now this is an interesting matchup because it's already played out once before this weekend. In round 5 yesterday, these two duelists met, and last time around, Suyubol was victorious over Kudo. Overall, Suyubol's record yesterday was 3 wins, a loss, and a draw. His wins were against spellbooks and 2 dragon decks. He drew against a dragon ruler deck, and he lost against the spellbook deck. And that's interesting because Suyubol's main deck is very much tailored towards beating spellbook decks. He main decks 3 copies of Eradicator Epidemic Virus, which you only really see if you think that your tournament environment is going to be filled with spellbooks.
We probably should quickly mention that he is also playing Dragon Rulers.
Yep, this is another Dragon Ruler versus Dragon Ruler matchup. Another interesting point, even though CBO's deck is anti-spellbook, that didn't help him last round when he lost to David Keener from the USA, who is playing spellbooks.
It's really kind of an interesting thing. A lot of people would say that the Spellbook deck is far more powerful due to Spellbook of Judgment, but they're unwilling to play it because of Eradicator Epidemic Virus and the ability of that card to just completely wipe you out of games. But the same goes for if you're trying to get to Eradicator Epidemic Virus as fast as possible to knock Spellbooks out of the game. If you're making your entire game plan, do this, do this, do this, but the card never comes, then you might be out of luck.
The shuffling is done. Now they're determining the start player.
And it looks like it's going to be Yugioh. You can already see something interesting in his hand there. That's Book of Eclipse, a card that flips all monsters face down. But during the end phase, your opponent slips back up, and they draw one card for each.
Huh. Let's see. So the stream stopped. I hope this happened not a lot, but it seems like they are fizzling too much. That's not good for us, but we can live with it. So da 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 da. So this is okay. So the Book of Eclipse is like having more Book of Moons in your hand in
That's
your
centric.
deck.
There's more traps than that old deck had plants. All right, Kuda's up for his first turn. First, he's going to discard Tempest and Reactant to go get a Redox from his deck and summon it.
Now for both players, it's probably a challenge to get over their loss in the semi-final and fully concentrate on this match. There's still a lot on the line because the third place finisher gets a copy of the second place prize card at this event. So there's still a lot on the line for both of these duelists.
Oh, so it's not like other years that the Force also gets one. Interesting. So they are really playing for something.
He's got 2, 7, and 5 in hand.
Okay, they made a mistake. They both get the card.
I don't know.
I
Got
hope.
6 now. All right, so he balls up and he discards Lightning and Blaster to go ahead and search a Tempest out of his deck. Tempest hits the field. Nothing else. He goes ahead, banishes both of the dragons he just discarded. Summon a Redox from his hand. Now that's the first searching Dragon Ruler effect he's played. So he's played Tempest, or rather Lightning, Redox, and Blaster this turn.
Oh. Oh, he plays really a lot of Touched, I think. Epidemic Virus, I saw
Selling
also
hard before
Private.
going ahead and taking a burner. That'll give him another summon if he's got another dragon in his hand. Goes ahead, plays the burner, discarding a blaster. It's going to give him another blaster. That's all 3 blasters out of the deck right away. You gotta wonder if
Return.
maybe that might come back to bite him if he needs to discard
Prohibition.
it later on to destroy a monster.
Mr. Gruner also played 1 Prohibition in his deck. That is a real good card
As it
in the
stands,
mirror
none of his
match.
monsters can take out that Redox, so he's going to need to dig into the extra deck. Which he does right now. And he appears to have one of his side deck cards in his extra deck by accident. Goes ahead, summons Big Eye. Well, that'll fix your Redox problem, get it out of the way, and let you make an Xyz summon with the remaining dragon on the field. Brief pause in the action. Kudo's thinking about it. I get the impression that he doesn't really want to give up his Redox, and he doesn't really want to see a Dracosac on the other side of the table. And
Book
he
of
does
Eclipse.
the matter with effect failure, negating Big Eye's effect before it can be activated. This is valuable because if he had allowed Yugioh to activate it first, and he was able to chain with an effect like Book of Moon or Book of Eclipse, effect failure would lose its target, and Yugioh would get that Redox. Sets 1 more card face down, makes no attacks, and that's the end of the turn. So Redox goes back to Kudo's hand, and he's up. Now this is a sticky situation. This is more relevant face-down spell and trap cards than Kudo's probably seen for the entire event, even in their last match. Now he's starting off with a more defensive play, discarding reacting to get Redox, the 3000 defender. He's got another Redox in his hand, but will we see it join its buddy?
I like the surname of the Yugioh Ball.
Redox is going away, banished for Sacred Sword of 7 stars. That'll get him 2 draws, and since he hasn't actually used Redox effect this turn, he could go get another dragon if we had him, but I believe he's got all of his potential searches either in hand, in graveyard, or banished at the time. Well, that is indeed the case. He won't be searching for anything. But that leaves him to resummon the dragon from his hand if he so desires. He goes ahead and pitches Burner and Title to search out a blaster from his deck and summon it. Now that blaster can't attack, so he's going to have to do something else if he wants to get rid of Big Eye.
Big Eye War.
Looks like he's pretty sure he wants to banish Tempest.
The thing
Or
of
maybe
letting the two is that if you start a bigger war, you can just, if he big eyes your big eye,
Because I mentioned earlier that it's kind of like having a second hand that you can play from, and now he's literally playing it as if it is a second hand.
Yes.
so here he has two materials. If your opponent's big eyes your big eyes, you can then just big eye your big eye back, then big eye, then sacrifice your just summoned big eye and his big eye, and then you have one big eye without, and then one with. So this move is good, but if you have no real response or not good comeback, the materials there could be a mistake.
All right, Redox is back on the field, and he's going to go ahead and Xyz summon.
Are you saying I'm being judgmental?
Oh my god. For
And
Big
this
Eye.
made Kevin cringe.
You see,
I don't think Kevin wants to hang out with us anymore.
Can you blame him?
Well, Big Eye sure doesn't. His all-seeing gaze has been cut short by Book of Eclipse, turning
So-
every monster on the field face down.
so now the two dragons on the big eye are
Now that's going to stop Kudo from using
stop it.
his Big Eye's effect, because it was just summoned this turn. It can't be flipped back face up.
Ooh,
But he is going to get a free draw out of it in the end. Stream has hit the field next. Tempest was banished for that summon, so he gets a Wind Dragon from his deck, taking Dragoon de Corsica. Has not used his normal summon yet, so he's going to go ahead and summon that Corsica. And I think we're about to see a Synchro summon.
What will he go for in this situation?
I'd guess Crimson Blader.
Guessed right.
Not only will he be able to get rid of that Big Eye, he's also going to shut down the rest of his opponent's plays.
oh, roar.
If it weren't for Threatening Roar. Threatening Roar is actually a really useful trap card. You can activate it anytime before your opponent's battle phase is over during their turn, and it stops them from declaring attacks for the rest of the turn. So that means that Kudo's got a Crimson Blader left on the field, stranded, along with a Big Eye, also stranded. So he is vulnerable to a reversal with a Crimson Blader play next turn.
For Burner and Redox.
He has got Super Rejuvenation, though, and a pair of face-down Speller Traps himself. And he's going to go ahead and get himself 4 more cards.
So he's basically saying, okay, you're playing with a lot of face-down spells and traps. I can do that too.
It's a dangerous game to play this time, though, because it's the first duel. The side decks haven't been used yet, and these duelists played against each other yesterday. So they should have a good idea of how many traps the other person plays, because they've probably seen most of their decks through all
The
the
Book of
drawing and discarding.
The Book of Taiyo should have flipped
of
the
Moon?
master face.
Book of Moon puts that Big Eye right back where he found it.
That's stupid.
Although it does not appear that the Big Eye was turned face up.
That's
Blaster, however, was just turned face up, flip summoned. It has 2,800 attack points, so it could crash with the Blader, or it could take out the face-down Big Eye. Monster Reborn is next. And Kudo doesn't seem particularly pleased about that. He holds him off as he reaches for Kudo's title.
Now, looking at the deck list, most of the duelists don't use Monster Reborn in their Dragon Ruler decks. Why do you think that is?
There's probably something... He's probably trying to go after the cards that he didn't play in his own main deck, because he was spending extra space on trying to beat spellbooks. So, for example, he might not have enough tuners. He's not a... Yes, no, I'm reading that correctly. He's not running Effect Veiler, so his only tuners are the Dragoon de Corsica and the Flamvel Guard. So the Monster Reborn can act as an extra tuner for him if his opponent's already played one. In this case, though, he just wants a dragon.
It's interesting though. A card like Monster Reborn is normal. In previous years, we have seen it played in pretty much every deck, and now seeing a situation where some of the top decks are not playing it.
We've actually seen it with a lot of the cards that are traditionally used in every deck. You know, Monster Reborn, Dark Hole, Heavy Storm. There was a time, basically when Dragon Rulers first came out, that nobody played any of those cards. And the reason that things like Dark Hole got back into the decks is because they needed mass removal to deal with spellbook decks. Because when a spellbook deck gets you with Jaugen the Spiritualist and Kaiku on the field, one stops special summons, the other stops you from banishing. The combination of them makes your deck do nothing. You need to be able to get rid of both of them at once, because just getting rid of one isn't enough. Looks like Big Eye's back in action, but he's been hit by Effect Failure again. Next up, Blaster back from the graveyard.
This game is pretty stupid.
And he's going to send it after the face-down Big Eye. That'll do it for Big Eye, who doesn't have enough defense to stand up to Blaster's 2,800 attack points. But he still hasn't done anything about that Crimson Blader. Kudo's up, and I'm sure he'd like nothing more right now than to smack that Big Eye with Crimson Blader. But Kudo added another card to his spell and trap card zones last time around. And after the Blader was stymied by Threatening Roar the first time around, you gotta wonder if it's gonna happen again.
So Forbidden Chalice. If you attack the face of the guy.
Looks like he's deciding on what to banish to bring back Blaster. And it looks like Redox and Corsica are going to take the rest of the duel off. Because Redox was banished, Kudo gets to get another Earth Dragon out of his deck. And he's going to take a copy of Redox. Kudo plays that Lightning Vortex yet again. Looks like it's been doing a lot of good work for him in this tournament. That'll destroy Blaster and Big Eye, leaving only the face down.
The War opponent is really bad player. He makes bad plays and his graveyard is in bad order. I don't know how he gets there. I mean, maybe his deck was too touched.
And there's that second Threatening Roar. Crimson Blader is held at bay once again. Taking a quick check to see how many Threatening Roars are in there. It's 2. One more left.
Why should be Roar better than Weboku? You can crush your Crimson into another
Only one
monster.
dragon in Suyobol's grave, though.
It's really interesting to me how a choice like having Threatening Roar in your main deck can completely change how the mirror match goes along.
Yeah, Threatening Roar is pretty big. It's a lot like Swift Scarecrow, except you can actually use it to protect your own monsters.
Yeah.
So it seems like he made that decision specifically to stop situations like this from leading to losses. And once you know it, it looks like Big Eye is back again. And this time, Inspect has been activated successfully.
Or is it?
Well, it's activated successfully, but we'll see if Kudo has anything to say about its resolution. And he does. He's got Forbidden Chalice. That'll negate Big Eye's effect, but it also increases its attack to 3,000. He does not take the opportunity to attack the Crimson Blader. And at the end of the turn, Blaster returns to Kudo's hand.
Why do you think he didn't attack in this situation?
Now that I think of it, it's because he can't.
Okay.
I forgot how Big Eye works for a second there. If its activation is not negated, Even if its effect is, you cannot attack with it.
I wasn't sure about that.
All right, he's going to go ahead and banish Blaster for Sacred Sword of 7 stars. That's 2 more cards. Thinking about whether or not he wants to use Blaster's effect.
The stream is really good
Looks
quality.
like no. His Gold Sarcophagus is up next. That lets you banish any card from your deck
High definition.
face up, and you'll
It's
retrieve
nice.
it during your second standby phase after the activation. Now he banishes Tempest straight from his deck, which lets him activate that card's effect, and that'll get him a Tempest. Or rather, a Lightning.
Commentators are crap.
Looks like that card really works well with the Dragon Rulers, but we haven't seen it before today, have we?
Actually, Gold Sarcophagus was popping up a lot. It was in the North American WCQ winners deck. Were you not seeing it in... Is it not played as much in European events?
I think it is. I specifically thought about today. I don't remember seeing it in a match that we had seen earlier today.
Yeah, today... Yeah, that is the first time it's cropped up today. Roar down. So once again,
Wow.
Crimson Blader is stuck on the sidelines. It must be nice. But it's not like the lack of a battle phase is going to stop Kudo from trying to win this thing. He summons his own number 11 Big Eye and uses it to try to take control of Tsuyubol.
That was hard.
Tsuyubol has Forbidden Chalice
No.
for his own. So they've traded chalices on each other's Big Eyes. Both have 1 material remaining. And it looks like Kudo might be out of ways to stop himself from losing the Big Eye war.
Sacrifice for Redox set. But Big Eye will make short.
He's thinking long about whether or not there's anything left for him to do this turn. He's an awful lot of dragon abilities.
And he has a lot of banished cards right now.
Yeah, I can't even... Like, when I play this deck, I have to mark down all the dragon rulers that I've used because I can't remember them all. But it looks like Kudo
Because
has
you're
absolutely no
bad.
doubt in his mind what he has and hasn't done yet this turn.
The thing with Roar is that you lose cards every time, so you don't draw new cards. And Dragon is not so bad, but you still... Yeah, it's okay. I will play Wabuku.
Can't quite see clearly, but it doesn't look like there's a whole lot left for him this turn. I see Max C, I see Trifortress Opt, I see Dark-Hole.
And he needs to be careful right now. I mean, we saw him already get a slow play warning earlier.
Yes.
And right now, it doesn't really look like there's a lot he can do.
I think he's thinking about using the Dark-Hole, just blasting everything.
Brief discussion with the judges and the translators. In the game by use of his bigger trap and spell lineup.
Yep. It's actually something that I'm surprised we haven't seen more of. One of the things that Dragon Ruler decks hate the most is trap cards, but nobody's playing them because they're all playing combo. At this point, there's not a whole lot of cards on either side of the table. We haven't seen the huge super rejuvenation plays that have really defined the rest of the Dragon Ruler matches we've seen today.
But as you mentioned a few times before, the graveyard really is like a second hand, so there still are options for both players.
Yep, and speaking of, here's Blaster from the graveyard.
And Max C.
So now we're going to get some card drawing action.
Finally.
I know you just couldn't wait to see more cards being drawn.
Yeah, more cards is more fun.
Yep. Alright, so he banished a couple of Dragon Rulers to bring back that Blaster. It's a Tempest and a Redox, so he can get Dragoon de Corsica and Reactin. At this point, it'll be interesting to see if he decides to continue playing this turn. By getting those 2 search effects, that's a massive leg up for him. And he could just take a direct swing and leave it at that, and deny Kudo the ability to draw any more cards. Alternatively, he could use that Reactant he just picked up to try to get another Dracosac on the field, but that would be a lot of cards. He'd have to give up. Kudo would get 1 for the Dragon Ruler summon, 1 for the Dracosac summon, and another 1 for the Mecha Phantom Beast token, and that might be far too steep a cost.
He went for the swing there.
Yep. Well, either way you do it, you got to take the damage when you can get it, especially in a really defensive duel like this one. Asks for a quick hand check. 2 cards in hand. And he says, you know what? That's all you're getting from me. You're up.
I think the Tempest with the die on it is the one he banished with the gold sarcophagus.
Yep. Hard to believe it's only been 1 turn since that happened.
A lot of things
So
have
much
happened
stuff.
in that time.
I think that's part of why people like playing with Dragon Rulers. They do a lot of stuff. People like doing a lot of stuff. It's the same thing that makes decks like Mermail so popular.
Or spellbooks.
Spellbooks do kind of a lot of the same thing. I think it appeals more to
This guy don't like Spellbook.
fans of spellcasters. I think a lot of spellcaster fans, ever since, Dark Magician.
That is very true. It's interesting if you compare the 2 decks that are in this, primarily in this tournament. The Spellbook deck has been around for a few months, or for nearly a year now, and has developed over that time, whereas the Dragon Rulers basically just popped into existence after a lot of Tachyon Galaxy was released. So they took very different paths to being the top decks in the current format.
Hmm.
And I personally talked to a lot of players who the whole time really liked spellbooks because they like spellcasters and tried to make it work, and found that finally with a lot of Tachyon Galaxy they could.
The interesting thing about the Spellbook deck is that when Spellbooks first started coming out, of course, it wasn't the Spellbook deck, it was the actual Prophecy deck. Now we're seeing the variant where only 1 Prophecy monster is played much of the time. So it's morphed from the Prophecy deck into the Spellbook deck.
Alright, looks like we got Blaster and Tidal Banish to summon out Redox. And that'll get him a pair of searches. So he's got a couple dragons. But does he have enough fuel left to summon them? Well, Crimson Blade is a fire monster, So he could banish that to bring out Blaster. But it looks like he's going to go ahead and discard a Stream and a Title.
There's nearly nothing left in his deck anymore.
And all that's from Searcher. It wasn't really... Well, no, there's one Rejuvenation play, but it's not... It's not the 6-card Super Rejuvenation that we were seeing in the past couple rounds. Alright, Title and Redox team up to make Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosac.
Oh, haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
Oh, is it her?
This was this was Big Eyes Duel to Shine, but it seems that they've all been exhausted at this point. So Dracosac's been a bad cleanup. He goes ahead, tributes his own Dracosac to destroy Blaster, and then tributes both of his tokens to tribute summon a Blaster. Well, that's useful because that Blaster isn't going back to his hand at the end of the turn. It's going to be there to dish out damage and make Yugioh deal with it.
That's also always important to remember. There's, especially with something like Dragon Rulers, that you also can just plain out tribute summon them. Most of the time they're special summon, but it doesn't mean that you can't tribute summon them.
Alright. Yugioh's up. It looks like he's discarding Reactant and Tempest. Activate Reactant's effect. That's going to be a Redox. Brief discussion between the players, and now Yugioh's going to dig into his graveyard. Just check in, see how it's doing. And then normal summon Dragunity Corsica.
Colossal Fighter. There's... Where he plays river.
Ah.
Wow.
Wow.
Now, Colossal Fighter, it's a synchro monster. It's just one tuner, one or more non-tuners, 2800 attack, much like the Blaster on the other side of the table. But when it's destroyed in battle, it can revive any warrior-type monster from Yugioh's graveyard.
I
Colossal
misplayed.
Fighter is a warrior-type monster. So, what we're probably going to see happen here is he's going to try to crash his monster into Kudo's, then revive his own monster and attack directly.
Nope, because the
What?
opponent has a Crimson.
That's not going to work this time because Colossal Fighter has another ability, and that it gets 100 attack points for every warrior in the graveyards, of which Kudo has one, the Crimson Blader.
That's a really noob misplay. Let's say your ball is really bad player. They are whispering. Pss, 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 pss. You are doing it wrong.
Well, looks like Kudo pitched a Max C, and having realized that his Colossal Fighter plan wasn't going to work out the way that he intended it to, Yugioh ended his turn.
Why is Yugioh going to end his turn?
Did not end his turn.
I don't think he ended
didn't
his
end
turn.
his turn.
He just the card draw was just for the maxi. I checked how many cards are left in his opponent's deck.
Okay.
I think it was 7, if I've counted correctly.
And sometimes you can't tell with the hand waving.
Yeah.
So, plan 2.
It's
Try
too
to run your opponent out
far.
of cards by special summoning as many monsters as you possibly can. I don't think that's something we've seen at all this entire weekend.
No.
That's not gonna work because he has still two blue.
I find it really interesting that his strategy seems to be to outlast his opponent.
Sometimes that's all you have to do. Both Spellbooks and Dragon Rulers go through a lot of cards, and sometimes all you need to do is not lose to win. check reveals that there are 7 cards left in Kudo's deck.
That's 5-3 damage.
Goes ahead, attacks with Colossal Fighter.
Reminds him.
Finds that the Crimson Blader is there. So only Blaster is defeated. Tempest attacks directly, but Kudo's got Trifortress Ops, and that's going to put a stop to this battle phase.
Boom!
Looks like we're taking a quick check on the text of Trifortress Ops. Doesn't seem to be a card that many duelists are familiar with here this weekend.
So I got one time Trifortress Ops, but still won the game.
Camera. And then Yugioh goes ahead and attacks anyways with his 2800. Or did he not attack anyways? No,
Yeah.
it looks like we're confirming how Trifortress Ops works.
What is happening there? So this game is already 40 minutes long. So
All right, main phase 2. Yugioh goes ahead and discards Stream, along with another dragon, to special summon Title from his deck. Looks like he's going back to the run out of cards strategy.
how many
Now, if we get another level 1 tuner on his field, he could make a second Synchro Summon, along with an Xyz Summon, and summon of tokens with Mega Phantom Beast Dragosack. But that still wouldn't quite be enough to get things done this turn. But it would leave Kudo with very few cards left to...
Oh, lucky strike.
Goes ahead, uses all of his monsters to summon number 7 Lucky Straight.
That's gonna be funny.
If there was one thing that I did not think that I would see this weekend, it's number 7 Lucky Straight. It's a dice roll card. You detach one material, roll a 6-sided die twice. The best result among them is multiplied by 700 and becomes Lucky Strike's attack point.
7.
If the combined roll is a 7, as it was right there, 5 and 2, he can either send all of the
Where's
cards
my
in the
dragon
field to the
deck?
graveyard, special summon any monster from your hand or either graveyard.
It's target player draws
Draw
card.
3 cards and then discard 2. So you get a Monster Reborn that also works on your hand, Graceful Charity, or Super Chaos Emperor Dragon.
Wow.
Where
Seems
is?
pretty good.
I think I actually have never seen this card play so far.
That's gutsy.
This is amazing.
He can special summon
Why
a
not?
monster.
You're in Vegas, roll them.
So
True enough.
he can activate. Oh, the Japanese is
That Trifortress Ops, despite his
having
first roll
problems.
rolling a 7, even if he were to choose to send all other cards on the field to the graveyard, that Trifortress Ops is staying where it is. It's unaffected by everything else.
He's going for the cards.
Ho.
Looks like he's going to go ahead and draw a couple himself. Discarding 2 copies of Sacred Sword of 7 Stars. And what that got him
That's
was empty
incredible.
Super Rejuvenation. Which, given the number of dragons he's discarded this turn, is practically a new hand.
No, it looks only like
No, only
he
2.
drew 2 cards. but still, that was an incredible turn.
That's pretty good.
That was a lot of stuff that I haven't seen yet this weekend.
I will reroll and reroll the Lucky Strike. You can make that multiple times.
Board of Colossal Fighter and Lucky Strike. That is amazing.
And Trifortress Ops. Can't forget about Trifortress Ops. Alright, so at this point, Kudo probably knows what his last couple cards are. I mean, most of his deck is either in the graveyard or banished, so by process of elimination, it's easy to figure out what you have left to draw into. Now, he rolled a 5 on Lucky Straight, and that means that his attack points are 3,500.
So there are no more big guys, I think.
Kudo goes ahead, banishes some Earth Monsters for a Redox. He's got a level 6 and a level 7. Don't quite match yet. And he also got that Tempest that he had banished earlier back at the start of the turn. It seems like ages ago, but it was really only 2 turns.
It was. And just in case if you lost track of what happened last turn like I did for a second, the reason why he didn't attack with Lucky Straight was because it was his second main phase.
Alright, he's going ahead, discarding Lightning. One of those 3 cards left in his deck is a Tempest, but now it's 2 cards left in his deck.
Better shuffle that, okay?
It's very important. Many possibilities.
If he can stall 2 turns,
Alright, now he's got 2 level 7s and Trifortress Ops. Not certain. I think he's checking his graveyard to see if he's got any big eyes left. Which it looks like he does. Does he want to go ahead and risk that and have a go at Lucky Straight? I feel like I'd do it. You got nothing
he
to lose.
basically has to finish it now, doesn't
Yeah.
he?
You got 2 turns.
Doesn't
Your
have
opponent
a
doesn't have much left, and you got to get rid of, a 3,500 guy and Colossal Fighter who you can't beat in battle. So you might have to take Colossal Fighter and hope your opponent doesn't roll well on Lucky Straight.
so
He's going to go ahead with the safer play, which is Dracosack. Go ahead and get him 2 tokens. The question is, what's he going to do with that? He can't turtle up here because he only has 2 cards left in his deck. He's going to destroy the Colossal Fighter with Dracosack. That solves the battle problem. Now, can he get 2 more level 7 monsters on the field? Seeing a lot of titles in there.
yeah, he removed already a lot of dragons.
Alright, goes ahead and banishes Dracosack and a Tempest to summon a Tempest. Dracosack is Wind. Not a dragon, though. Next is Intense Thought. I don't know, the way he's reading that Lucky Straight, I think he wants to try to take it.
What could his opponent do to prevent that? Basically just Effect Veiler, right?
Yep, Effect Failure. So he's got a dragon, and he's got a Trifortress Ops, and his opponent has 5,200 life points left. So if you roll a 6 on Lucky Straight, you get a 4,200 attack point monster. And that, along with Trifortress Ops, would be enough to win the duel, because his opponent's only at 52.
He can still
You've
tribute
got
for a
just
draft.
enough monster card zones left to do it. And here we go.
Pulls it off.
Wow. This duel basically comes down to,
A dice roll.
yeah. Although Lucky Straight is still at 3,500, so if he can get another monster that has enough attack points, he could do it. But obviously, that's not the case with full monster card zones, so he's going for a 6 and does not get it. But it's not a once per turn effect, so he could try again, which he still didn't get. 2 3s, and neither one of them was a 7. That could have just sent everything else away. So he's got a 2,100 attack Lucky Straight and a Trifortress Ops.
So
And he can't summon any more monsters because all of his monster card zones are full.
he can tribute summon. Stupid.
Goes ahead, turns the Trifortress Ops to attack position, and attacks directly with both.
So
Take a look at the rest of his hand.
maybe this game is the only game if they stall for
And he's
another
out for
10
turn.
minutes.
Now the key here is to make it through Suivol's turn intact. What Suivol's probably going to do is try to wall up, because Big Eye cannot take any more monsters since there aren't any monster card zones.
Yeah, but what are you going to do against a Lucky Strike?
Discard Extreme.
Could is
Goes
really
ahead and gets the
nervous.
last title out of his deck. I'm going to go ahead and banish Stream and another Stream to get title out of the graveyard. And normally when you see 2 titles on the field, that means you're going to be looking at a Mermail Disguise in the near future. Next up, Redox and a Tempest are taking a hike. Or maybe not. Blast was taking a hike to summon Tempest. That is a large pile of banished dragons. Can't tell that's nearly all of the dragons I think that you're able to play in your deck. That's his graveyard.
That's
Yeah, all these piles of cards get moved all over the place. Alright. Redox and Blaster were both banished. That means that he's going to go ahead and get a Flamvel Guard, which is a tuner, and a Reacting. Normal summon, Flamvel Guard. See, he's playing a Red Dragon Archfiend in his extra deck. But he seems more tempted to go for one of the 2 Crimson Bladers, which he eventually does. And he's still got 2 more dragons on the field. Crimson Blader goes ahead, attacks Lucky Straight, destroying it. Title goes ahead and takes out the Trifortress Ops.
Why?
And Tempest goes after a Mecha Phantom Beast token. That's probably so that he can go ahead and
Why the
do
blader
something unpleasant to the big eye,
is able to destroy the lucky strike? He rolled a 6.
like take it with his own big eye. Remember what we said at the start? When you start playing big eyes, things get messy.
Ah, okay.
It really looks like it, and it's amazing how this
Okay.
game swings back and forth. If you just look at
It's
the
only
boards,
on the highest number, so
it
it's
constantly
3.
changes completely.
It's looking like a kitchen table here. You just throw the cards everywhere.
They are already 52 minutes in time, so they have to play.
Yeah, so one more thing he wants to do.
All right, just checking the math to see what Kudo's life points should be at. The dispute seems to be over what the attack points of Lucky Straight were at the time. Should be 2100 as noted there. It's looking like
Seems they got it sorted out now, and he passes his turn.
all right, 2 cards left. And the first thing he does is tribute a big eye for Eradicator Epidemic Virus. He called spell cards, which means that's Super Rejuvenation, Heavy Storm, Card Destruction, all gone. Which leaves Kudo with just his Swift Scarecrow and Max C. And since Crimson Blade destroyed a monster, he cannot, or destroyed a monster and sent it to the graveyard, he cannot special summon level 5 and higher monsters.
So he's just going to draw, and if he don't have
Now, it
Book
should be
of
noted
Mana,
that if Crimson Blade destroys that token, it does not go to the graveyard because it is a token. But that presumes that Kudo will make it through this turn to see another.
to force Scarecrow
And with
now.
3,400 life points, it's looking like that's not going to be the case.
He has to discard Scarecrow now. Uh, Gaia and Armory Arm. No.
Suivol's just making absolutely sure, summoning as many dragons as he can, just in case.
Gaia.
Because one of those cards is a Swift Scarecrow,
Gaia
but
Dragon.
it's not going to help in this case. Swift Scarecrow can only be used against a direct attack, so those 2,600 points are still going to happen when Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger takes out the Mega Phantom Beast token.
So he's at 800 now, right?
Yep. Obviously,
There
he
comes the
has to use
Scarecrow.
the Scarecrow to avoid losing to Crimson Blader, and he draws his last card, which he must reveal due to the virus.
Which is he
It's
reminded
Stream,
of?
but, well, there aren't any dragons left in his deck because he hasn't got a deck left. This is
So
it.
this turn is going to be funny. He has to
Can you
make
do
1/5.
1,500
He has no dragons left. And they are going to start sideboarding, and the time will go over, and
Right now, it
Werapun
looks like he's checking the
Subeyo
attributes of
Ball
all the
from
monsters in his
Thailand will
graveyard. What
win.
basically his only chance is to get as many dragons on the field as possible, and there are 2 ways to summon them. You can use dragons, or you can use monsters of the Dragon Ruler's attribute. Now he's got a Crimson Blader in there, which is a fire, and he can use any other dragon along with that, for example, to summon a blaster. As he sits there checking his extra deck, look on his face seems like a, man, I wish I played Lucky Straight in my extra deck kind of look.
They are
Yeah, I think
thinking of giving him
the judges are talking right now and basically telling him through the translator that he needs to make a move.
Yes, I can't tell what was.
He's getting a heart infarct.
I just checked with the judge. Including time extensions, there are approximately 8 minutes left remaining in this, and we're still in duel 1.
And it looks like something else has been added to the match slip.
All right, and we've just been informed that Hirome Kudo received another slow play warning, which was then upgraded to a game loss for that game.
Wow, but this was a really intense duel.
He was going to lose anyway. I think it's better for him that he got a game loss because he was going to lose anyway.
3 dragons and Lucky Straight.
Which, when I asked you about the best rank 7 Exceeds monsters, you didn't even mention.
Yes. It's because it's either the best rank 7 Xyz monster or the worst. It all depends on how the dice come up.
But I mean, you phrased it perfectly. It is a gutsy move because it comes down to a dice roll, and he got rewarded big because he rolled the combined 7.
Yep.
It could have easily ended up
right back the
completely
other way.
different.
And that's, they have to use all the same sleeves to this card because
since you can use the effect more than once per turn,
Rules of Wars are with
it's
shit.
not as unreasonable as some other dice roll. New side deck shenanigans here.
I'm not really expecting it. Kudo does have the Mystical Space Typhoons in his side deck, but they don't really help you against Threatening Roar, since Threatening Roar can just be chained to it. He's got Eradicator viruses. He might try to give Suyabol a taste of his own medicine from that last game and destroy the Threatening Roars before they can
Japanese
reset.
players always
I
get
actually think he
game losses
puts
for
Mystical
lots of
Space
things.
Typhoons in his deck right now.
Well,
If I saw it correctly, he put them on the pile that now becomes his deck.
I'm not really sure what that's going to get him. But, you know, you're down a game, you got to try everything.
Yeah, especially rush and win in time. Yeah, they will not be gonna able to. So let's see game 3. Here it goes again. What happens when you do things?
All right, we are on to duel 2. This time, Kudo will be starting us off.
One quick thing that I wanted to mention, in case you're wondering what game mats the competitors are playing on here, the image on this game mat is from the first place prize card that the winner of the World Championship will get. It's called Grandopolis, the Eternal Golden City, and the game mat will only be given out to the competitors of the main event and the Dragon Duel. So this is a really, really cool additional prize.
Yeah, usually it costs
All right,
like
so things are starting off quickly on
$400,
Kudo's side of the
500.
field. He's discarded multiple baby dragon rulers. Looks like a lightning and a burner to get a tempest and a blaster. That's 4 discards total, so if he has super rejuvenation, then he's in for a big payday at the end of the turn. Next up, Mech Beast Dracosac. Kudo's playing far more quickly now.
Yeah, he needs to make
It's like
damage.
he's turbocharged all of a sudden.
Gets his 2 tokens. Thinks about some more dragons. Alright, I'm going ahead and banishing a Tidal and a Tempest to bring back Blaster. He hasn't used Tidal's effect yet, so he can get Stream, Dragon Ruler of Dropless, from his graveyard, or from his deck. And he's also searching out an extra copy of Tempest, since he hasn't actually used the effect of a copy of Tempest yet. That lets him discard 2 more dragons, so it's practically assured that he has Super Rejuvenation at this point, which will be a grand total of 6 new cards when the end of his turn rolls around. That's a second Dracosac. Make some more tokens. After he tributed 1 token to try to destroy the first Dracosac to make space, since he can't attack anyways. So now, full on monster card zones, that's 3 Mecha Phantom Beast tokens, 2 Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosacs, and 6 cards coming to him in the end phase. To go with 1 in hand, that's 7, which means he does have to discard 1 card before his turn is over. Alright, Suivol's up. He has a lot of spells, not a whole lot of dragons, but he does have a Redox and a Sacred Sword of the 7 Stars, and he's going to go ahead and use it. That's 2 draws, and if he so desires, a search of an Earth Dragon from his deck. Picked up a Threatening Roar, key card in the first game. And he's going to go ahead and search out
Right now it will be another key card.
a Redox.
And especially in this situation, his defensive strategy might pay off well for him.
Yes, once time runs out. Ah, he already had a reaction. And in response to that, Max C is chained. Redox hits the field, and Kudo draws a card. Super Rejuvenation and a face-down card. And it looks like that'll be all for Suivol.
So
Except 2 draws for his efforts.
Yeah, the face down card is the Threatening Roar.
Now, first things first, if Kudo wants to play any monsters, he's going to have to get rid of at least 1 token.
or sacrifice, or tribute, or destroy, or anything. That's stupid comment. There's like 10,000 ways of on dealing.
He's tributing Dracosac to try to destroy the face down card, but it's a chain threatening roar. So Kudo loses his attacks and a Dracosac. Takes a look to see how many dragons are in his opponent's graveyard. And dives into the tank. Goes ahead and tributes one of the tokens to his other Dracosac to destroy Redox, and is that?
Looks like it.
Yeah, it appears that time is being called in the round. And they're explaining the end of match procedure thus.
So Bure and Gaia and Threatening Roar is the winner right now.
And this is really where Suyabol's defensive strategy is going to pay off for him. As if he can keep the scores tied and move this game to draw, he'll win, having won the only duel in the match so far.
Kudo still has a lot of cards.
Yeah, there's
now.
plenty of dragons in there, but he can't attack with any of them.
Not this turn. That's the one thing that could go wrong for Tsuyubo, is that he basically has only spell cards in his hand. There is one monster card.
I like the shirts a lot.
Yep.
No, it was the same thing in the first turn, and he turned that hand into still quite a good board.
Alright, so he's going to go ahead and banish Stream and Blaster to summon out Tidal. Because Blaster is banished, Kudo goes ahead and gets another Blaster out of his deck.
So Vanity's Emptiness maybe
Next up,
wins.
discarding Lightning and Redox to get Tempest out of the deck. Monster zones are full yet again. And this time he's pulling out Big Eye.
Now again, why would he play Big Eye in this situation?
Tribute.
Doesn't have any monsters on the field.
Because Vanity's Emptiness.
In the case that he does get monsters on the field, then he
An
can
Electric
take that
Virus.
monster out.
He's playing around Electric Virus so that...
If I saw correctly, he has a Vanity's Emptiness in his hand, so...
We've seen that before. The materials on Big Eye are not considered cards on the field, so he can detach them safely without self-destructing his own Big Eye.
He has to rush for damage.
Alright, Sewell goes ahead, discards Lightning and Dragoonity Corsica. Vanity's Emptiness is chained, but Sewell had sighted the Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy it.
So
the special summon will go through unimpeded.
the sleeves from the walls are shit because they are this hard sleeves that crash together when you shuffle sideways. So you can only really riffle shuffle. So yeah, and when I was playing Worlds, it's...
Sewell takes a nice long look at all the cards in his graveyard before banishing Tempest for Sacred Sword of 7 stars.
And again, his bigger spell and trap lineup really works to his favor here.
Yeah, right now it looks like he's basically just digging for defensive cards.
Yeah.
He don't have a lot of... What are you going to do? Searching for another stream?
Because it was banished. he gets another Tempest out of his deck. He's going to go ahead and banish Redox and Lightning. To summon Tidal. Redox hasn't been used yet, so we can go ahead and get another search. Before reacting.
So
Which he discarded right away, along with what looks like another Tempest, to go ahead and get Redox out of his deck. Or so it seems.
he has no more Redox or no more.
It appears that he might have activated Reactin without a Redox in his deck. Yep, that appears to be the case because his opponent is now allowed by policy to take a look to make sure that there is no Redox left in Sugibol's deck. There's not, and so the play is reversed.
It's quite funny. They make it with the hands.
This is pretty much just a mistake that happens due to the immense pressure of already being in timeout.
There are just so many dragons all over the place. It's kind of hard to keep track of where they all are.
It really is.
Yeah.
And none of these players wants to risk getting another slow play warning right now.
Yep.
Boom.
Looks like he's contemplating Monster Reborn,
Oh
which
yeah,
he goes
here
ahead
it
and
goes.
plays.
This time on one of his own cards. Or not.
No, it looks like he wants Blaster,
Yes.
probably for its attack points. Blaster goes ahead and hits the token, and Tidal takes out Big Eye. Perhaps that move was more based on the dragons he saw in Kudo's graveyard. Perhaps they were more useful for summoning Blaster back than any of the others. Now, Seaball does the smart thing here. He goes ahead and Xyz summons for Dracosac, but he detaches his own dragon instead of Kudo's, so Kudo can't get it back.
Now, in this situation, why does he put Dracosec in attack position?
I'm not certain. He's put it in defense position basically every other time. So it could be that he's trying to entice an attack. But, yeah, one thing's sure, that Blaster needs to go back to the hand since it was special summoned.
No, it was normal summon and tributed Dracosac, and
Ooh, Heavy Storm.
it is not a roar.
Tribute summon?
It's a sword.
So many dragons all over the place. It's hard to keep track of where they all came from.
It really is.
Alright, Heavy Storm is activated. Book of Moon is chained to put Dracosac down into defense position.
Why you would like to put the Dracosac
So in
face?
that case, yeah, it looked like it was more of a bait him into attacking into the Book of
That's
Moon
crap.
kind of situation. Because the worst thing that can happen there is that you defend yourself. Alright.
Now, the fact that his Dracosec is face down,
Yep.
is that in any way a disadvantage to him, or?
It is. For example, if Kudo had Dark Hole right now, he could destroy the Dracosac even though there are tokens. Because continuous effect is not active while face down. Instead, what's going to happen is Gaia Dragon, the Thunder Charger, with its piercing ability, And Kudo's going to play for damage to try to force this to a third duel. That is the first damage of the duel. Gaia Dragon is 2,600, so that will leave him at 54.
I think he actually had the Dark Hole in his hand, and now
Now
he
he's
actually
gonna play it.
activated it.
And destroy everything. Kind of risky when your opponent still has so many cards in hand.
Oh, there's another threatening roar.
All right, Sacred Sword of the Seven Stars banishes Blaster. Yugioh gets to draw 2 cards. And the judge had just stepped in for a moment to inform the players that this is going to be the final turn of the duel. So we'll take a look at the life points after it, since we are in single elimination.
So life points in this case determine the winner of the duel, even though one player is up 1 duel.
Yes, it'll determine the winner of this particular duel, and then we'll look at the number of duels to see if one player has more.
Kudo has a
In
Scarecrow.
this case, it would be 1-1 unless something happens on this turn, which means that they would play a abbreviated.
I will.
That's
That's mad. He risked it on a Triceratops, where he just should make.
Here's a Red Dragon Archfiend attacking for 3,000, but
There's the
Yugioh
Scarecrow.
has the Swift Scarecrow.
Wow.
So the game is over. Kudo wins. He could just.
There seems to be something unclear. What could be the question here in this case?
He's just explaining how the match procedure is.
Not certain. It looks like the duel is over because Yugioh is packing up his cards.
Yeah, definitely.
So it looks like that was the judge basically saying, okay, we're done with this one. It's 1-1. So we're going to go one more.
So
Is this overtime?
So this just kind of Riddick and to play another game. And that's game 3 of the top of third and fourth playoff. Really, Dragon Ruler games are really too long between 2 good players. That's exhausting.
All right. Single elimination, sudden death rules. You might have seen that they rolled dice at the start, despite the fact that Kudo won the previous game. In single elimination, when you are in this scenario, both players roll dice again to see who gets to start off. The players will play for 4 turns, 2 each, and at the end of those 4 turns, after all effects have finished resolving, we'll check the life points. If one person has more life points than the other, they will be the winner of the match. If not, we will continue until somebody does have more life points, and that person will be the winner.
Isn't this exciting?
No,
All right, it looks like,
it's crap.
despite winning the roll, Kudo chose to go second, which would have given him the first opportunity to attack.
This shot already finished.
As he's now stepping in to explain to Yugioh that this is his last turn. He's going to go ahead and discard Burner and Redox. Kudo has Chain Maxi. He's going to draw for every special summon from here on out. Now this is basically Yugioh's only chance to get any damage in. However, the monster summoned by Burner can't attack, so he's going to need to special summon more. Flambell Guard hits the field. Used for a Synchro Summon. What's the biggest thing you got? Now the biggest thing is Red Dragon Archfiend, but he's going to go for Crimson Blader instead, just in case this thing goes longer than expected. Next up, Redox, Flambell Guard, banished for Blaster. Flambell Guard, both a dragon and a fire monster, so useful in a lot of different scenarios. On to battle. Blaster attacks directly. Kudo had the Swift Scarecrow, but Yugioh chained Book of Moon to turn his monster face down and make it an illegal attacker, stopping Swift Scarecrow from negating the attack and ending the battle phase. Crimson Blader got a direct hit in, and immediately Yugioh went ahead and flipped Threatening Roar to make absolutely certain that his opponent could not attack in the last turn, winning the match. Your winner, the 3rd place in the All Ages World Championship, is Weirfun Yugioh.
That's no reason. Why summoning 3 good guys if you have the Book of Moon and risking on a Triceratops? That's no sense. You just go for it. You just summon 2 monsters, and so
Okay,
you dodge Book of Moon, and so
the
you
next match
dodge
will
the
begin in a little
Triceratops.
while, but first we have a special
That's-
treat. Earlier today, my
That's
Valentine
not
challenged Yugimoto to a special duel to see who is the best duelist in this convention center. So we will be going to that in just a couple minutes. So stay tuned for that.
So okay, I'm gonna cut, and let's see.